Cooper Flagg took the court for the first time in Summer League play yesterday, getting his first taste of NBA action. And I'm going to tell you guys why nobody should be overreacting to his play, either good or bad, after his first Summer League game. We're going to discuss a little bit about that. Herb Jones gets his money, and the Dallas Mavericks and Lakers are circling their trade targets reportedly. We'll talk about all that and more right after this.
Welcome to the number one place for your daily basketball news and analysis, NBA Central.
What's going on, basketball fans? Welcome to another episode of NBA Central, your number one spot for everything basketball related. I'm the host, Sir Hayes, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at NBA Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go and get into this content for today, y'all. So Cooper Flagg took the court for the first time in NBA-style action. I struggle calling it actual NBA action because Summer League basketball is so different from what you see in NBA basketball. And the structure is completely different when it looks down to it as well. But he got his welcome to the NBA right away. The crowd was absolutely electric for what this matchup was going to be. And every time Cooper Flagg's name was said, announced, it reached crazy levels of noise in that arena. But right after tip-off, Cooper Flagg found out quickly what was going to happen, right? His first few minutes on the floor were extremely rough. He missed 2 shots. He picked up a foul in just the first 46 seconds into the game, and Bronny James went down to knock down a jumper right in his face. He also drained a 3 in Cooper Flagg's face as well. And just those 2 names being involved, right? Cooper Flagg, who's the number 1 overall pick, a pick that the Dallas Mavericks are definitely hoping he's going to be the next generational player in this league, especially after trading Luca Iodumu. But to get that and then to have Bronny James, who his name is already polarizing in the league as well with the nepotism talk and did he deserve this? Did he deserve that? There are already 2 very polarizing names, very exciting names in basketball circles to talk about. And it is what it is there. But for what it is, Cooper Flagg admitted the struggle of what it was, and it was a struggle. He said this, it's a new feeling, new environment, new teammates. The guys held it down. Miles, Ryan, they were amazing tonight. Max, they had my back. I didn't have my best game, but I'm just going to keep going forward. And that's really what it is. And for all the think pieces that you've seen already, and there have been some, not as many as I was expecting it to be, because listen, NBA fans, basketball analysts, especially around this time of year, can get a little crazy with the written articles. But when you look at some of the names of players that struggled in Summer League, Al Horford, Draymond Green, Jalen Brunson, Coby White, Derrick Rose, Trae Young, right? Giannis Antetokounmpo had a bad Summer League. There are a number of players who just had rough Summer Leagues, and that's just the nature of Summer League basketball. You don't have familiarity with your teammates. The coaching sometimes is about getting specific players certain specific type of looks that they want them to work on. Like, Summer League is really the wild, wild west, and it is what it is. You're going to have some players that have absolutely tremendous performances. You're going to have some players that, especially per their draft position, if they have questionable games, you're going to look at it and be like, oh my God, what's happening here? But for what it's worth, it just is. Summer League is what it is. Cooper Flagg on the night, 5 of 21. Got him 21 shots. He had 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, 1 block, only 1 turnover, and 10 points. That 5 of 21 and 0 for 5 from 3, though. That's where a lot of people are going to stick on when it comes down to Cooper Flagg, and I understand it. It was a rough game for Cooper Flagg. And I think the NBA physicality, even in Summer League, is a little bit more consistent than what you see in college basketball, and especially in high school. So, this is going to be an adjustment year for Cooper Flagg. And, for the people that have said, are the Mavericks doing it right, having players like Anthony Davis, locking in Kyrie, and having those veterans to where Cooper isn't going to get a huge number of shots his rookie year? Yeah, because it provides structure. I think that's best for development as well when you have a team that actually has players that are going to be competitive on it, and you're learning and developing in a competitive nature. And, it is what it is there. But that was Cooper Flagg's stat line. When you go and look at Bronny James, who didn't have the great stat line either, 8 points, going 2 of 8 from the field, 1 of 6 from 3-point range with 2 assists, 2 rebounds, and 1 turnover in the game in 21 minutes played. Dalton Connect had himself a game with 15 points, 6 of 16 from the field. And Bronny James missed what could have been a game winner. And, it is what it is there. But the think pieces around Cooper Flagg's game and all that, I get it. It's going to come. It comes with the territory of being the number 1 overall pick. It comes also with being in Summer League where, it's not necessarily the best. People are thriving or are starving right now for basketball. So it is what it is when it comes down to that one. But there have been some fun games so far in Summer League with fun performances as well, man. I think when you just look at the way that everything happens, for people who are really basketball nerds and just love the game of basketball, and love watching basketball as much as they can, like Summer League, it gives you like, you're not looking for the results to transfer one for one from Summer League, but you're looking at tendencies. You're looking at those type of things. You're looking at where players can work on, what may be a struggle for them in the NBA level, but you're not taking it as like the end-all, be-all, the one-for-one that, oh my God, if this happened then, that means it's going to happen in the NBA. That's not how you're looking for it. That's how some people, try to talk about Summer League. And to a point, I kind of understand it, but at the end of the day, Cooper isn't the first number one overall pick. He's not the first player with tons of expectations that had a rough summer league. He's not going to be the last. It's going to happen. It's going to happen a lot over the course of it. It's no reason to overthink it or anything like that. Coop's going to be okay. Coop's going to be okay. And some of the even big performances aren't things that you want to think about too much and try to make these super big think pieces on what's going to happen next in the NBA or anything like that. You just want to take it for what it is, take it with a grain of salt, and move on when it comes down to it. And that's really all you can do in a case like that. And we'll see what happens. We'll see what it ends up turning into, man. But for one, I love Summer League basketball. We may try to get a live watch party in here for some Summer League games here over the weekend. We may try to do that just as a fun thing to go out and do. Juan Behringer had himself an amazing game last night with 11 points, 8 rebounds, 7 blocks, 2 steals for the Wolves, and the Wolves, who definitely are hoping that Juan Behringer can end up turning into their center of the future. They got a little bit of glimpse in that. Go and check out his game because it was a really fun game to watch as well. But let's move on from that to actual NBA news. Herb Jones agreed to a 3-year, $68 million deal with the New Orleans Pelicans. And what I like about Herb Jones, right? Herb Jones is such a really good story when we look at growing from a second-round pick to what he ended up becoming, and now signing this deal and being a player that I think most people will tell you on a winning team, especially like teams would definitely be interested in having Herb Jones on their team because he's just a player that goes out there. He gives effort on both sides of the ball. While his stat line isn't stuff that's going to like jump out the stat sheet for you, he averaged 10 points, 4 rebounds, 3.5 assists on 43% shooting from the field, 30% shooting from 3. But you got to watch him as a two-way player and a defender and somebody who really, like, Herb Jones is one of those players that really can fit in on any team. And that's something to be said there. Like, there's not a lot of players in the NBA that you look at, regardless of system, regardless of scheme, regardless of team makeup, can find a way to fit in on any team. He is one of those players. And regardless of what the output in, a player like that is always going to hold some value around the NBA. And that's what Herb Jones holds. And so the Pelicans locking him into a deal at 3 years, $68 million, as the Pelicans still sit in this place where they're trying to figure out what's next for the roster. There's a lot of imbalance on the Pelicans roster. And, they've cleared some of that up with moving CJ McCollum and stuff like that. But, he played 20 games last season. And, part of that was shoulder injuries and things like that. But a second-round pick in 2021 to now come in and sign a 3-year deal like this, man. That's great and fun to see. I love seeing this from Herb Jones, and we'll see what he continues to bring for that Pelicans team. Let me know down below, what do you how do you grade this deal? Do you think this is a good deal for the Pelicans and Herb Jones? What do you think is the future for him? Do you think they end up holding on to Herb, or is he a trade candidate leading into the trade deadline? Let me know what you guys think on that down below. Now, one thing that I don't like to bring here very often is Chicago Bulls talk, right? And I because I have a Bulls focused channel and I am a Bulls fan, and I can admit that sometimes I'm biased on my team, that I try to leave the Bulls conversation off of this. But because these are more geared towards the players, the other teams that are trying to acquire these players, that I do think that this is fair to talk about. And these are rumors, following up on rumors that we've heard that I have covered over on Chicago Bulls Central. But one report that we heard earlier in this week was that the Lakers hold some interest in Ayo Dosunmu. Now, that was Ayo Dosunmu, Matisse Thybulle, were other players that they had been reportedly interested in trying to acquire between now and the start of the season. There are tons of rumors that the Bulls are looking to move on from one of these guys, and we got trade rumors now for both. Coming from decent sources, right? Now, I'm not saying that these are guys that you should take everything with the grain of as absolute fact, but reportedly, the Lakers do have interest in Ayo Dosunmu. And while I have my thoughts on the value of this for the Bulls, but they'd be willing to part with Dalton Knecht to get that done. Now, again, this is rumor. This is coming from Clutch Points. I want to be clear here. It's coming from there. It's not even coming from necessarily a Lakers-based reporter. So take that for what you will. It's from Jed Pagdum is the writer who wrote that over on Clutch Points. I'm probably murdering his last name. But the Lakers getting a player like Ayo Dosunmu, and I want to be clear here. When you're looking for players that fit with Luca, Ayo Dosunmu could absolutely be one of those players, right? And again, I'm removing my Bulls bias here and just focusing on why the Lakers would want Ayo. His two-way play, the fact that as a starter, he averaged still almost, 16 points per game, when he did start for the Chicago Bulls, or had a close to a full season of starting in 2023-24. He's, again, two-way player. The defense is really good for him. And he's one of those players that, again, much like with Herb, can really fit in on just about any team in any system. He's played a multitude of roles between point guard, shooting guard, small forward, even a little bit of power forward for the Chicago Bulls. But that defensive upside and what he does in transition, which is something that you do want players that can do a little bit of that with Luka Doncic, and he's still solid enough in the half court to set screens, come off pin downs, those type of things. So it would make some sense, especially for a player in Dalton Connect where, it seemed like the Lakers kind of were in up and down on him last season, right? Would they be willing to part with somebody who was just a draft pick, a first-round pick for them last year, to acquire a player like Ayo, who they would then have to turn around and pay next year in the summer of 26? Now, the reason why this could also play in to the Lakers' plan is that we know that they want to remain flexible in the summer of 26 and the summer of 27. And Ayo Dosunmu may be one of those players that they would target anyway in the summer of 2026. So there could make some sense for them to move forward with trying to acquire one of those players if they know that they're going to have an interest in unrestricted free agency. Go ahead and try to acquire that guy now, get his bird rights. So that would make some sense. The biggest thing is that, though, the Ayo Dosunmu is basically Chicago's favorite asset. Would they move off of him for just a package around Dalton Connect? Would they have to come off a first-round pick? And then would the Lakers even be willing to do that for a player that they can just wait to try to attract in free agency, even though Ayo is from Chicago? Maybe there's more inclination to stay there in Chicago. That's the question that the Lakers and the Bulls would have to come down to, is the value there. A package built around Dalton Connect is though, in fairness, where I think the Lakers will start that at, is up to the Bulls to try to negotiate more. And I don't know if the Bulls have the best history. Well, I know they don't have the best history at negotiating deals to get that done. But let me know what you guys think on that. Now, the other one is a new one that's popped up, and that's the Dallas Mavericks. This is another one from Jed, from the same writer, but he wrote this one about the Mavericks, that the Mavericks could be interested in landing Coby White for Derek Lively, Jaden Hardy, and Brandon Williams. Now, this is not a deal that would work under the CBA. The Chicago Bulls have no open roster spots once they re-sign Josh Giddey, so they cannot take a lopsided trade to take 3 players back for 1. And even in fairness, I'm a Bulls fan, but I'm not a homer. That's a lot to give up for Coby White, right? Again, another player that is going to be an unrestricted free agent at the end of the year, that we already know because he can't get the same money in an extension, that it's going to come down to him going through unrestricted free agency anyway. The question is, do you feel like you can lure him away? Now, Coby White has been inconsistent over his career, but his role has been inconsistent. He fluctuates between being in the bench, being the scorer, being not the scorer, being the point guard, being the shooting guard. Like, it's every year of his career has been a major change to what his role was at the end of the prior season. And that has added some into the fact that you can't always trust what's happening here. Now, is this a move where the Mavericks will look at this and say, this is somebody that we can see playing with AD and Cooper, Flagg long-term, and once Kyrie comes back? Or is this more of a stopgap move and like, hey, let's acquire Coby now while we don't have Kyrie, and we can figure it out once Kyrie comes back, and look at it that way? You're looking at those type of things, but I don't think there's any way you're getting Brandon Williams, Jaden Hardy, and Derek Lively all back for Coby White. If that were to happen, that would be one of the best trades that AK has ever pulled off, even though I don't want to see Coby White move. But you got to look at that when it comes down to it. I think, these are deals that, one thing, right, and to make it less about these deals and more about Summer League, with so many basketball GMs and executives being all in one place in Summer League, that is where you start seeing some deals talked about and even some starting to get done. And that could be why some of this is kind of drumming back up around the Summer League time. Not to say they're going to see moves made during Summer League, but this is where some of those talks could start. And then once Summer League ends, they go back to their respective places and they're like, hey, you want to pick up that talk we were having in Summer League? And you could see some stuff like that happen. I don't know if either of these two moves are realistic or if they happen, but they are rumored. And let me know how you guys feel about those down below. That's my time. Make sure you guys are following us at NBA Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, NBA Central Show at gmail.com. And then lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We're the #1 spot for everything basketball related. That's thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. And like I like to end every episode on, see you guys the next time I feel like making a video. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Breaks Media.